can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up?
Grant with that jump shot's off. Long rebound run down by Hodges, and here's the King. That's a three.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait.
Are you kidding me? Do you believe it?
Fun had by all, and did we see a surprise in the desert? Welcome to another exciting edition of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. I am one half of that team, Cole Johnson. The other half is convalescing. I think this is day number, let's see, it's the 20th, day number 16 of convalescing from cancer surgery. Brian says hello. We actually talked yesterday. He sends his love to all of you. And if you want to converse with me or pass along well wishes to the snowman, all you have to do is go on to youtube.com. We are live as we speak right now. And type in Snowman in the Morning 50. That's Snowman in the Morning 50. And you will be interactive with me or whomever else joins. And you can be interactive with the other people who are interacting in the chat as well. That's how we work because we're family, right? So, of course, we're going to talk about the NBA, the playoffs, of course, because it is the season to be jolly in terms of NBA action. 3 game 2 games were played last night. We'll preview the last game 2 of the first round games, plus the first game 3 first round game in the first round in the NBA playoffs. We will talk about Mark Jackson possibly being the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. Mama, there goes that man. And we'll probably touch a little bit on Colin Kaepernick having desires of being in the NFL and actually reducing his demands. And it's Wednesday, right? Let's see. Okay, so Easter was the 17th. Yes, it's Wednesday. You know how Cole Sports and Snowman in the Morning get down. We have another Bronze Sexual Confessions waiting in store for you. But let's get this party started, shall we? I think we need to do a bit of a reset.
If I were Joel Embiid, knowing the fact that James Harden is your teammate and you're going to have to trust him after the month of April, I'd run like hell. This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, the show with the hottest of hot takes and the coldest of cold hard facts. Facts, that is.
We saw a wonderful tilt in the desert. The Suns up 1-0 going into game 2 last night. This, of course, will lead off the show, and it actually is the talk of the sports town. After last night, the Pelicans fight and just staging a feverish third quarter burst and held off the Suns in the fourth quarter to the tune of 125-114. Now, the Pelicans were buoyed, of course, by C.J. McCollum with 23 points. He added 8 rebounds and 9 assists. Also, Valanciunas chipped in with 10. Jones chipped in with 14. Nash chipped in with 13. But the story of the game was Brandon Ingram. As Wise, El Jefe, and I talked about yesterday, we felt as though this was the guy who needed to step up the most to offset or to complement McCollum, and Ingram did just that. 37 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists. He played huge, and that is what the Pelicans need. And if they're going to take this series, Ingram has to tap into a side of him that, quite frankly, he has not before. Now, he has played a diligent Robin throughout this past year, as he's, I think, trying to still get his footing in how to actually be a stud NBA player. And it's easy to do it because McCollum plays an easygoing game where you know he's going to give you a solid 20, 25, maybe even 30. And then sometimes will surprise you with a 35 or 40-point game. The guy knows how to fill the hole up with buckets. So you have that security blanket in terms of offense for Ingram. Now, what you have to do to supplement that is to put forth a performance such as Ingram, and having them come close to triple double. That is solid. Now on the losing end for the Suns, Booker paced them with 31, 19 from Bridges, 10 from Ayton, which I have a problem with that. 17 and 14 dimes from Chris Paul, 11 for Johnson, and 10 for JaVale McGee. So that's good. 6 players with double figures, 2 of them off the bench. The issue I have, though, is Ayton with 10 points. He can't be that small. He cannot play that small in any series, let alone this one. But he can't play that small and expect the Suns to be the ones to win it all. Because if he plays that small, guaranteed, this will be the result. Now, what also hurt them was Devin Booker, who was just lighting it up in the first half, 31 points in the first half, 7-11 from 3, 12-19 from the field. He was efficient, but unfortunately he pulled a hamstring in the game and the fortunes changed. And it makes you think, I guess Devin Booker is more valuable to the team than we originally thought. What I loved about the Pelicans was that they did not falter. They could have folded up the tent. They fought hard. They got out to a rousing start. They wanted to push the tempo and basically match the Suns' tempo, and they did. And in the second quarter, it looked as though the Suns were about to wear down the Pelicans with the same tempo. But that injury by Booker, I think, really did the Suns in. And it's unfortunate that Booker has gone down with an injury. He did not return. Hopefully he will return when the series shifts to New Orleans for game 3. Tip off of that game will be 9:30 on Friday, but with hamstrings, they can be tricky. Sometimes they can go well, and other times you can extend and exacerbate the injury and have it be worse. Prayers out to you, Devin, because you're one of the top 5 players in this year, without question. And we can talk about Chris Paul being the guy, but that team is yours. There's not a question to me. That team is yours, and they go as far as you do. And if you are not going to go any further than here, the Suns possibly may need to think about packing in. Maybe not this series, maybe not even the next series, but championship aspirations, they may have to be thrown out the window because of that. It's unfortunate. Gravely unfortunate. To the folks at BS3, we say hello to you. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ivan, the wonderful team there. Just simply embraced, or us, Brian and me, but I'll just speak personally, embraced me with open arms. I love the community there. They're absolutely wonderful human beings. But I've always said this about Ben ever since I met him in 2016. It does not shock me that we have partnered up this late in the game 6 years later. But thank you, BS3. Thank you for airing this show on Roku. We appreciate you. Now, we're turning our attention to the Hawks and the Heat. Now, I will say this about the Hawks. They put forth better effort. They decided that they were willing to put forth an effort. It's just that Jimmy Butler decided to say to the Heat, okay, we all played well in game 1. It's my turn to bring the team to the next game in game 2. And that's what he did. Along with 14 points from Strus, 11 points from Vincent, 15 from Tyler Hero, who was, of course, one of the six man of the year candidates. 90s from Lowry and Adebayo. 45 points, 5 boards, 5 assists coming from Jimmy Butler. And that 45 was what rode the Heat to a 2-0 series lead in the first round of the NBA playoffs as the number 1 seed in the East beat the Hawks for a second time, 115-105. Now, for the losing Hawks, Trae Young, he did not score 8. He actually did get the double digits, double figures. He scored 25, got six rebounds, and got 7 dimes. The shooting was a little better, but the three-point shooting was still off. 2 of 10 from beyond the arc. Bogdanovich was the leading scorer for the Hawks with 29, Collins with 13, and Hunter with 16. And you can tell that the Hawks are missing that inside scoring presence. The way that the Hawks are maneuvering, they are relying on Trae Young being the hot guy. They're relying on him being the hot hand. And if he has the hot hand, like Butler for the Heat, if he has the hot hand, the team could play a little easier and they can flow a little better. But with that hot hand is not there, then that's when you have the issue. Good morning to you, Sick. Appreciate you. Cannot complain, sir. Everything is fine in this world, on this side of the planet. Hopefully everything is good for you, man, because it's always good to see you. And Sick also says hello to Ben, Ivan, and the team at BS3. I really, when the series shifts to Atlanta, I really want to see the Hawks play the way they did last year in the first round when they were playing the Knicks. They really felt as though they could not be moved. They really felt as though they were a team that belonged. And when they played the number 1 seed last year, when they beat the Knicks and advanced to the conference semifinals to play the 76ers, they still felt that confident energy of we belong. Now, they weren't the perfect team, obviously, but they rode that wave of Trae Young being the guy that he didn't care if he was the villain. All they cared about was just hitting threes, hitting the clutch shot, and being the man and having the team rally around him. I'm not seeing that this year thus far. I should say this year in the playoffs thus far. What I'm seeing is Young doubt himself just a little. And normally when you see your star player doubt himself, it permeates throughout the rest of the team. I want to see that team from last year in the playoffs where they just could not be denied. Because when they are playing on that type of level, this team really cannot be denied. But I think the problem not having Clint Capella for Trae Young to bounce off of, because it's a wonderful tool to have in the toolbox for a point guard who penetrates to the hole, because you have the two choices of, okay, I can just go in for a layup or I can dish it off to the big man. Well, if you eliminate one of those options and you pretty much know that whenever he penetrates, Trae Young is going to go for a layup, well, that forces him to be more of an outside shooter, which that plays it to the Heat's hands, because that is what they defensively want to do. And as for the Heat, the one good thing about them is that they do not need Butler to go 45 every single game. But if he goes 45 in 1 or 2 in a series, that helps, because it means the role players don't have to rise up so much offensively. They can rise up on the defensive end and hold them down and shut them down, as evidenced in the third quarter when the Heat pulled away from the Hawks and holding them to 22 points. They stepped up the defensive effort when they saw Butler cook, and that is what is necessary for the Heat to advance. If they can get a couple of those games a series where all the role players have to think about is be strong on the defensive end, then the chances of winning increases, and the chances of an easier victory increases for the Heat. But if the pressure is to score with 4 or 5 different players having to put forth at least 15 points or more every single game, then the Heat could be had, because then they have to put more pressure defensively to stop you. So game 3 will be 7 p.m. tip-off from the ATL Friday night. And will we see an excited Phillips Arena? I'm not sure. I think we'll see an amped one, but I don't know if we'll see an excited one, because I don't think ATL has the confidence that the Hawks could put away the Heat. But I will say this: the Hawks need both these games. They need both these games. They need this series to be 2-2 when they go back to Miami so bad that they can't see straight. But what they need for Trae Young to do in games 3 and 4 what Butler did in game 2. They need him to go ballistic on the court, and they need him to just rain buckets from everywhere. Because if they don't do that, this series will be over, and this series might be over in Atlanta, and we probably will not see the Hawks after this weekend. Not rooting for it, not saying that we'll see it, because normally teams play a little more relaxed at home. Role players definitely play more relaxed at home. So you might see a better effort, but the Hawks need both of them in the ATL. They need this series to be 2-2. No question about that. See, they need to put forth the effort like the Grizzlies did last night when they dominated. And I loved the effort. 124-96 victors over the Timberwolves, bringing the series at 1 apiece. And what I loved is not necessarily the offensive effort, although I have to give credit where it's due. 7 players in double figures. That's impressive. Jackson with 16, Bain with 16, Clark with 13, Tillman with 13. A huge addition with Tillman, because he could slow down Cat a little. I'm not saying he's going to slow him a lot, but he could slow down Cat a little bit. 10 from Jones and 23 from Morant. This is what the Grindhouse 2.0 looks like, where you have a whole team filling them up with buckets and then just making life totally difficult for the opposing team on the other end. And all I gotta say is bravo to that defense of the Grizzlies. This game was done after the second quarter. 17. They only allowed the Timberwolves to score in the second quarter. Edwards followed that 36-point performance with a 20-point performance. Not as great as the 36-point performance, but he led the Timberwolves scorers. D'Angelo Russell chipped in with 11. Prince chipped in with 12. So did Reed, chipped in with 12. And the stats that I will circle when it comes to the Timberwolves: Karl Anthony Towns only scoring 15. Now, he needs to go off. There isn't a question about that. He needs to become the offensive dynamo that the Timberwolves must have in order for them to advance, not just beyond this round, but the next round. More than likely, they'll be playing the Warriors, unless the Nuggets can win 4 out of the next 5 in that series. And they would need it from whoever is going to be in the conference finals. They need Karl Anthony Towns to say, I can fill this hole up and score 60. They need that guy. But if they don't have that guy, they will get these efforts. They will get the effort of 17 points in the second quarter and 19 in the fourth. They will wave the white flag, because we don't really have anything else other than maybe Anthony and Efforts hopefully catching fire. They don't need that. They need to have Karl Anthony Towns say, I am the leader of this team. I am the number one guy. Everything flows through me. I need to bring our team to the next level. They need him to be that way on the offensive end. Now, what hurt him in this game was that on the defensive end, he was caught with 4 fouls early in the third quarter, which meant that he had to temper being the aggressive self that he was Saturday in game 1. And that is the best way you normally do render a big man. I won't say I won't say uh, uh, persona non grata, but you render him to be not as effective when he has to think, oh man, okay, I can time this block, but if I draw contact, rep might call a foul on me. That might be number 5, or I might be out if after I got 5. This might be number 6. This team needs me, and you play on your heels. That's not the type of cat that the Timberwolves need. They need him to be fully aggressive, and that aggression from him permeates throughout the rest of the team, because you have the aggression of Patrick Beverly on the other end, who is the absolute irritant and pest of the NBA. But if he plays on your team, you love him. You need to have Anthony Edwards to be that beast where he just has no filter, no ceiling, that he has the permission to be the absolute Skywalker that he is, who has this all-around game. It is all hinged on Karl Anthony Towns feeling as though he can score 60 every time he steps on the floor. When he doesn't feel that way, you get this result. But when he does feel that way, you get them scoring 130 points. So game 3 is in the Twin Cities. So they head there tied 1-1, and tip off of that game will be at 7:30 Eastern tomorrow night. I can think the Target Center will be ratcheted up in intensity. Oh my gosh. 6 says the Grizzlies came to play and would be darned if they were to come home 2 games down, go home 2 games down in the series. They play complete basketball. This is what I love about the Grizzlies. If anybody were to ask me, Cole, what do you like about? No, fully understand that, bro. If you would ask me, Cole, what do you like about the Grizzlies? I would show them last night's game, because you have a young bunch who love to play for one another. There are no egos, and that includes Morant. No egos on that team. There are a lot of good players on it. And make no mistake, Morant is not a good player. He's a stud. He's a superstar in the making. I mean, he is an elite superstar in the making. The dude is electric every time he touches the ball. And he could give you a triple-double if he wants to. He knows how to play on this team. It's as if he has this innate ability to say, okay, I think the energy is not great. This team needs to score 40. And he'll fill it up with 40. And he can look at this team, and other times it's like, oh, okay, the boys are filling up the hole. Okay, I need to feed them. And he might not score 40. He might score 30, might score even 20. But he'll guarantee that the others will get theirs too. Superstar, elite superstar in the making. And when you have Bane, you have Jackson, that will help them. And in fact, I think they will elevate their play too. This team plays like one on both ends on the floor. They share the basketball on the offensive end, and they play athletically and tough on the defensive end. They're unafraid to be physical, but they beat you in the head with athleticism. That is why I love this team. That is why I love the Grizzlies. I will not disparage them one bit. And I will say this also. They're barely scratching the surface. This is the worst they're going to look, in my opinion. Other than barring injury, this is the worst the Grizzlies will ever look if Ja Morant's on the team, because they're only going to grow and get better. 6 says they showed true heart and played team basketball, unselfish basketball. And that's sick in that statement right there. That's why I love the Grizzlies. They have heart, they play team basketball, and they're unselfish. From the elite player on down. And I think the reason why I like them the way I do is because they remind me of the 94 Rockets, where you had this stud in Akeem Olajuwon. The only difference is Akeem was in his prime at the time. Morant's not even close to his prime yet. But the makeup was similar. The team is built around this superstar, and the other players played for the big man, and they played for each other because they felt emboldened because the big man played for them too. And that is how the Grizzlies are. Everybody to a man, Tillman, Jackson, Bain, and all the others, they play for Morant. And Morant looks at these guys and he loves these guys and he says, you know what? I see you and you're feeding off of my energy because I play for you guys. I play for you. I want you all to win because if you win, I win. And when you have an elite player on your team who believes that, it is like what Six said, unselfish basketball, and you get a 28-point victory in the playoffs. Stunning. And I that was a near perfect game from the Grizzlies. And as I said to Wise yesterday, it wasn't the fact that the Grizzlies played horrible all the way around Saturday. It was they just simply did not have that grind, that grit on the defensive end. And you might have to say that the Timberwolves showed no fight, no heart, no energy themselves in this game. And an argument could be had where you could say, well, the Timberwolves put all their eggs in the basket of we got to get one game in Memphis. And since they got the game in Memphis on Saturday, we'll just check out Tuesday night because we don't have to put all our eggs in this basket. We have 2 at home coming up because now we have home court advantage. It's a dangerous way to think. I'm not saying that this is what they did think. I'm saying that's how they played. Because they played like they had no effort to expend. And they were trying to save it up for when they have the next 2 games at home. So, yes, they do have home court advantage, but with a team like the Grizzlies, you do not need to give them confidence. You do not need to give them any confidence whatsoever. This should have been the game where Patrick Beverley would have implored the team, play this game like it's game 7. We need to get this team out. We need to not show them. We need to not give them any opportunity to have any confidence. We need to crush them. Foot on throat, 2-0 when we get back home so we can finish them off in the Twin Cities. Now we have a series because I don't think the Timberwolves will get both of the games back in Minneapolis. I would love to think that they will, but I don't think so because the Grizzlies are just too talented and too deep. Man, so that was last night. So what about tonight? We got 2 games to preview, the last 2, game 2 of the first round NBA playoff games to preview, and the first game 3 to preview. Six says home court advantage or disadvantage goes both ways. Yes, it does, sir. Truer words were never spoken. So as we when we come back, we're going to preview the slate of games. There's 3 more coming tonight. We're going to preview those right after the break.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Baby, you see, you're so right for me, and I'm right for you. I love the things you do, like sweet tasting wine. Your lips are so divine. Your loving turns me on. My lonely days are gone. That's why I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna let you go. No, no, never gonna let you go. Baby, never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go.
Hey guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just,
Only you can prevent wildfires.
like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
If you can celebrate Christian McCaffrey having a 1,000,000 season, if you can celebrate Marshall Faulk, who had a 1,000,000 season by electing him into the Hall of Fame, then why can't we celebrate the guy who originated the 1,000,000 season with a Hall of Fame election? I'm talking about the one and only Roger Craig.
If you want some, come get some.
Welcome back to Snowman in the Morning.
Seeing a little Roger Craig, wanted to give that little tidbit and shout out to my man Brian Snow. That was the voice you heard. The other half of this program, who is convalescing, day number 16, off of his cancer surgery. He's doing wonderfully well, recovering quite nicely, and he'll rejoin us sooner rather than later. But I'm the other half of the team, Cole Johnson. Welcome back to Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. And we are talking about the NBA playoffs. We touched on the games from last night. Let's touch on the games let's touch on the games coming up tonight. Now, of course, the series that everybody has basically been pointing to has been the Nets Celtics series. Everybody has something to say about this series, whether it is could Kevin Durant lead a team, or is Kevin Durant clutch, or I have proof he's not. I'm not saying that I don't think he is. I'm saying this is what I've heard. Is Kyrie special? Does Kyrie get affected by the Celtics crowd? All of those scenarios are okay. Oh, and of course, in the other one, how could I forget this scenario? As I say, what's up to Cool McCain? He'll join me Friday, and it's going to be a ball when we get together. I will be remiss if I did not do this, so pardon me. Now, if you have seen this man, please report him to Snowman in the Morning. We miss him. Today is the 10-month anniversary of his disappearance. When we last saw him, Game 7 of the 2021 conference semifinals in the Eastern Conference between the Sixers and the Hawks. We miss seeing him. We miss seeing the fact that he looks like a deer in headlights when he has the ball. And in the clutch moments, he'd rather not even dribble, let alone do a post move and shoot. And he's a guy that basically will pass blame to teammates, coaching staffs, front office, and fans, but not himself. The 10-month anniversary is today. And we need him. We need to see him. So if you've seen this man, report him to Snowman in the Morning quick, fast, and in a hurry. Now, all of those storylines are great, but the main storyline to me of the Celtics Nets series is, will we actually see Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown be the big boys that we felt as though they were on the road of becoming 4 years ago and just simply take over the Celtics? To me, I think that is the number one storyline, because that is what we thought was missing as the Celtics got off to a horrendous start, and everybody wanted to just simply get rid of every single person on the Celtics, whether it was the coaching staff, the players, or the front office. And then they go on this 26 of 32 winning tear to end the season. And because of that 26-6 record at the end of the season, it made them the number 2 seed in the East. Now, to me, it is a question of if those two can actually lead the Celtics to prominence. And I don't just mean beating the Nets. I mean, if they can actually lead them to an Eastern Conference championship. That is not something they have won since 2010. So if they can do that, they will be well on their way to being back from those days where you had Garnett and Pierce and Allen and Rondo lead the way. Six says, Cool says good morning to you, Six. Six says good morning to you, Cool. Cool lasts says only 10 months. Cool also says, I saw Ben impersonating Street Clothes Davis on the Nets bench. Oh my gosh. See, for that, all I gotta say to that, Cool, is one simple thing. And I can't say it, I can't do it justice. Ice Cube, Chris Tucker.
Damn!
But you see where I'm going with this. One side is all about drama. The other side is all about basketball, and it doesn't matter, for example, you mentioned Kevin Durant. The thing that's mentioned with him is, well, is he healthy enough to go over the long haul, which I think he is, because I think the injury that he had made his legs a little fresher than it normally would be if he wasn't injured and he played the whole entire season. And also the criticism of, well, he's not clutch. Look at what he did not do in game 1 when the Knicks were up 5 with 1 minute to go in Boston on Sunday and didn't close the game out. He didn't sink a shot. He got, and he can't play defense. I mean, I saw so many things about him. It was ridiculous. And then, well, he's not a leader because he excuses he excuses Kyrie and his behavior. He excused James Harden and his behavior before he got traded. And he's definitely excusing Ben Simmons and his behavior. He's not a leader. All of that stuff, it just gets it gets on my nerves, because that's what we're talking about, and not if this guy is one of the best players in the game today. Six says, big boys, when are they going to become men and lead the Celtics? Well, that's exactly the question I'm asking, Sick, and I'll get back to them again in a minute. Another example, Kyrie Irving. Well, he's all for one and one for all for the team, except for when it doesn't favor him. He decides to sit out for general principle, and because of the vaccinations thing, I don't care what side of the ledger which you fall, it does not matter to me. What matters to me is he was not a team player and decided not to be one. He decided to deliberately not be one, and he sat out home games. And if the Raptors were to advance, he will sit out Toronto games because he feels strongly in not being vaccinated. Okay, well, more power to you. So he was a part-time player for the second half of this year. Now he can play home games for the Nets. But it's about that. It's about his willingness to play basketball at all, because remember the year before he felt compelled after the January 6th riots in DC to take off, and then next you know he's shaking his groove thing at his sister's birthday party, but didn't tell the team he wanted to take off. He just took off, and then didn't tell the team anything once he did take off. It's those things. It's those things that just make you say, you have the ability to shine, but you just have this bigger ability to be all about drama. And then there's Ben Simmons, who this guy said that he had a mental health issue when he was with Philly. He claimed that the teammates didn't like him in Philly. He claimed that the coaching staff sucked. Both of them, the Brent Brown and the Doc Rivers version of the coaching staff, sucked. He claimed that the front office didn't have his back, and he claimed that the Philadelphia 76ers faithful just simply weren't rocking and cutting for him. All of that drama. And that's before he gets to Brooklyn. And then when he gets there, oh, his back is out. His mental health is fine now, but his back is out. And now the back is healed. Oh, he ran his knee into a coffee table.
Right.
Are you kidding me? That's what I'm talking about. We're talking about that type of stuff and not talking about the execution of this team on the court. You know, like when they went to ATL early April and Durant dropped 55, but Kyrie decided to take more shots than Durant in that game and they lose it. Talking about those types of things. Oh, and coming off the break, Six said, speaking of Roger Craig, how soon will we see Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson high step in the studio like Roger Craig? Now, you know, our boy will love that. And we will be high stepping when it happens. And that might be soon. You don't know how soon it's going to be, but it might be real soon. Cool says, KD is a baller. He clearly is not a leader, but he got burner accounts to argue with kids, bro. But on the court, he's dominant. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But that's the truth. But the thing is you have all this drama surrounding him because of that narrative. And of course, since he's in New York, he's getting a whole lot more of it than he normally would if he was playing anywhere else. Cool also says Kyrie is a weird dude. He always keeps something going on. Example, another time when he visited the TD Garden, and not this time, but this was last year, because he wanted to cleanse the air. The dude burnt incense in the arena.
You for real?
We're talking about that type of stuff. Oh yeah, and when Kyrie said that he lobbied for, he was one of the ones who lobbied for Steve Nash to be the head coach of the team, only to say, what did he say? Oh yeah, quote, we don't need a head coach. We're good enough as is. Close quote. So we have to deal with Jack Donkey mess like that. That is what I don't like. That is what I've never liked about Kyrie. I don't say I dislike him in general. I just don't like the drama that comes with him. Because you know that with the 39 points that he will give you, he gives you that type of drama along with it. It's like what Cool says. It's always something with him. Now, well, Six says, and New York City's mayor, Eric Adams, isn't helping when he lifted the COVID-19 restrictions because he's a Nets fan. Dude, when I saw him being interviewed on CNN in October, he actually said on air, and if I'm lying, I'm dying. He said this on air, quote, I'm a Nets fan, and I'm going to do my best to get that ban lifted because we can't have Kyrie sitting on the bench playing, and he's a Nets player. You know, when I'm elected mayor, I will lift that ban. Close quote.
Bitch! Are you for real?
Sometimes, man, politicians just make me laugh. Sick also says, is incense burning in a basketball arena even legal? It supposedly shouldn't be, but who knows, man. Cool says, Ben Simmons is the Carson Wentz of the NBA. He's SAWFT, soft. Six says, cool, I love the Enzo Amore reference. How you doing? Oh, sorry. How you doing? Actually, that is an Enzo reference. That reference there actually is a Big Cass / Morrissey reference. But I'm just sick of the Nets just drowning the news with drama. So that's why, and I'm not a fan of either team. That's why I like more the Celtics end, where I can talk about the big man who's injured, or I should say who's hurt and is not playing right now, Robert Williams, who he's a difference maker in the paint, where he defensively can make an opposing offense change their shots if they decide to go into the hole, or he can give you easy points. Or we could talk about Marcus Smart, who he is one of the best defenders in the league today. Or we could talk about Jaylen Brown, who is becoming a really good Robin and sometimes a Batman every now and then. And we could talk about Jason Tatum, who we've been talking about him taking over the mantle for the Black Mamba, so to speak. You know, he has the build, he has the mentality, and he has the game, and now all he lacks is the confidence. So, to your point, Sick, that's what I believe, and I do agree with you when you say big boys. When are they going to become men and lead the Celtics? Because this is the time to do it. When they were able to do it in 2018 without Kyrie, I may add, when they were only one half from the NBA Finals, that is when they should have said, okay, we can bring this team further now. Although I know they were pups then. I mean, they're still young now, but, you know, they were really young then. But they had the ability to do it then. But I think they did not have the confidence. And it definitely showed in 2019, 2020, and last year. This year, I think the switch turned after the All-Star break, and I think they feel as though they do have it now. Six says, the drama off the court is merely a distraction to the mess on it. Hence, Brian, Six will make you smile when I say the following. They're the Brooklyn mess. Yeah, agreed. And Cool laughed at the Enzo Amore and Morrissey references. That's where I am with this. Now, on the court, tip-off of this game is at 7 Eastern tonight in TD Garden in Boston. The Nets need it. That's really point blank. The Nets need it. They need this game because I don't think they can go down 2-0. Now, I believe they will possibly hold serve in Brooklyn, but they cannot go down 2-0 going to Brooklyn because it'll be a tall task to ask them to win 4 out of the next 5 games in order to advance. But that is what they would need to do if they take an L again, especially if they take an L in the same fashion they did Sunday, where they had a 5-point lead with 1 minute to go in the game, and they don't close the deal. That is what the Nets must not do. What they must do is get out to that lead and hold the Celtics off. They supposedly are the better team in terms of elite players. They need to start showing it. And if they don't, they'll be down 0-2. And they may have to doubt themselves when they do play again in the next 2 games in Brooklyn, because this must be a win for the Nets. Pure and simple. Pure and simple. Ryan says, good morning, Cole, and good morning to everyone watching. Happy Wednesday, and happy Wednesday to you, Ryan, one of the faithful members of the Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Faithful. Appreciate you, brother. Cool says, agreed. The Nets need the split. Yeah, they need tonight's game. Turning our attention to tonight's tilt in Milwaukee in the Fiserv. The Bucks hosting the Bulls in game 2. I actually said this to Brian when I talked to him yesterday. This is my favorite series thus far because the one thing I saw in plenty supply was defense. Now, people could say, well, you could see that, Cole. They were just missing shot after shot. No, it was defensive effort. Now, do you think that you have a defensive player of the year in Giannis Antetokounmpo, and he's going to make shots easy for the Bulls? No. He's going to try to make every shot difficult if he can. And he did, and that resulted in a 93-86 victory. What I liked about the game, though, was that the Bulls were willing to get down and dirty too, and they were willing to be physical with the Bucks, and they were willing to play defense with them too. I love when I see effort on the defensive end from both teams, when it is not an up and down game. Now, it's a prettier game to watch, I'll admit, when you can go up and down. But you see hunger, you see grit, you see effort, you see heart when you see two teams defensively get after one another. And it reminded me of the early and mid-90s games when you had teams who you had stars and you had great offensive players, but you had teams who were committed to sell out defensively. And they really believed, okay, well, we can score. We can fill the hole with buckets, but it's defense to win chips. And we believe it. We're going to go for it, and we're going to do this thing. Defense championship. That's how it works. The Bucks believe it. The Bulls are leaning toward that way, partially because of injury, partially because of bad shots and probably tough shots, but partially because they believe that they can play this way too. Now, the key to this game is just simple. If the Bulls have it in them, they have to push the tempo. I mean, that's really the only tip that I got. If they could push the tempo on the Bucks, and the Bucks can run too, but if they could push the tempo, you get the Bucks to not play the way they want to play, because they want to play the way they did last game. They want to have a game be slowed down. They want it to be a half-court game most of the way, and they want to show that they are physically more dominant than you are. That is what the Bucks want to do. And when you have Giannis, who is willing to say, look, there isn't a team more physical than us, and I thrive on it being physical. I want it to be that way. When you have a guy that full of confidence and is willing to bang, well, then you have a tough road to hoe. And you just saw in the game they played that the Bulls, although they held the Bucks to 93 points, they couldn't outlast them. So the only way they can do it is if they allow to have more free flow and to get DeMar DeRozan open shots. If they get open shots with DeRozan, that is when you will have W's happen for the Bulls in this series. If that doesn't happen, 0-2 when they go back to Chicago. When they drive down 994 to Chicago, 0-2 Bucks. No question. 6 says, good morning, Ryan. Happy Wednesday to you as well. Now, DeRozan needs help, though. He needs help with scoring. He can't do it by himself. And if he does do it by himself, it's going to be hard because he would have to pull off the Jordan-esque type of game where he scores 60 points if he does it by himself. That's not what you want him to do. You do not want him to score by himself. You want him to score with others, but you want DeRozan to be the guy to lift them up. He has the ability to do it, and he has the gumption to do it. The question is, will he have the ability to get off good shots to do it? So maybe he needs to probably switch up and put himself in more advantageous positions and try to get the defense of the Bucks play out of position when they are in the half-court sets. That's the only things that I can think of for the Bulls to actually offset the Bucks. Otherwise, the Bucks, to me, are the better team, and they have no answer for Antetokounmpo. None. They barely have an answer for Holiday. They barely have an answer for Middleton. They technically don't have an answer for Lopez, but they most certainly do not have an answer for Giannis. And that makes it very difficult for the Bulls to win in this series. And even to win tonight, game 2, tipping off at 9:30 p.m. tonight at the Fiserv in downtown Milwaukee. Shifting gears to, well, before I shift gears, Six says, I wonder when Big Brother Thanos Antetokounmpo or Serge Ibaka will see any game time. Does Serge have to cook something outstanding for the coach in order to play? It is strange that we don't see Serge play. That's a really good question, Sick. Turning our attention to the first game 3 in the first round. Tip-off of that game will be 8 Eastern. Between the 76ers and the Toronto Raptors. I said this on air. I will continue to say it. The most uninteresting series to me is this one. And they tried to make it interesting with the end of game 2. They tried to make it interesting. They tried to make it interesting where you had Joel Embiid have this talk with Nick Nurse, the head coach of the Raptors. Interesting. But it basically was a bunch of nothing. You had Embiid saying to Nurse, you stop complaining about all these fouls that we're drawing, talking about Harden and Embiid. And Nurse basically saying, well, if I got to foul you both, so be it. I just have to put you on the line. That's the only drama that you can draw, because to me, the Raptors, unfortunately, with Scotty Brooks, unfortunately with their Rookie of the Year candidate, and I'm having a brain lock in the moment. Without that, you have issues. All right. Hold on, I'll be back in a moment. Give me just a moment. Sorry about that, and we're back. Now, the Raptors, 76ers. So you have so many players who need to step up. You have Fred VanVleet, who needs to step up more than he should and does. You need Patrick Siakam, who needs to lead this wagon. And you need the role players to invest in saying that we need to have this series and that they have to now win 4 out of the next 5 in order to do it. The team just does not have the firepower. They don't. They would love to. They simply don't. Now, on the other end, and this is where the Raptors might stand a chance, Embiid is the guy. He's the best player in the series, not even a question. You have Tyrese Maxey, who I believe is starting to show himself to be the second best player in the series. No question. Will James Harden throw a monkey wrench in all of that? That's where you have the issue. And so far he hasn't, but he gets in those modes where he thinks that he has to bring all of it, and he messes the whole engine up. And thank you, Scotty Barnes. My brain was just locked up because I wanted to say Scotty Brooks, and I'm seeing Scotty Brooks in my head, the coach, the former player of the Rockets and former head coach too. I'm thinking, that's not the guy I want to talk about, but okay. Yes, that's the rookie of the year candidate for the Raptors. Cool says, surprise Toronto isn't more focused. Talent-wise, they're at a disadvantage, but they should be a more cohesive unit. And that's the issue I have with them too, Cool. I'm thinking, you have the one, thank you, Cool. That's the one advantage the Raptors have over the 76ers. They play more like a cohesive unit. And the reason being, that's what Nick Nurse wants his Raptors to play like, a cohesive unit. That's the one advantage they have, but they haven't played like that the first 2 games. They played defeated in both of them. And when you have a more cohesive unit, you trust your brother. You trust the next play. You trust the next man. And it could be tough. And you can take it on the chin, but you take it on the chin with effort. Those 2 games of Philly, they showed very little in certain stretches of both games. That's a problem. 6 says, in case anyone is wondering, Serge Ibaka has his own YouTube channel and he has a cooking show on it. Yeah, I know he's a cooking aficionado. The only way I can see the Raptors actually mess this all up, I'm sorry, the 76ers mess this all up, is if they have Harden thinking that he is playing on the Rockets still, circa 2017-18. That's the only way I can see the 76ers lose this series. And I know my man Brian is saying, yes, I see the Raptors beating them. They probably could. But the way they played in Philly, I'm not so sure. And then losing Scotty Barnes in game 1, it makes it even harder. Now, if Barnes was in, I'd probably say, you know something, I think they still might have a shot, albeit a small one. They still have a shot. But when you have Embiid cooking the way he is, you had Horford cooking the way he did. I'm sorry, Tobias Harris cooking the way he did. My bad. I'm sorry. When you had Tobias Harris cooking the way he did in game 2, and you have Tyrese Maxey being the guy that he has been the first 2 games of this series, the Raptors can't do much. They would have to have this big-time offensive output from Siakam and VanVleet to stand a chance, and they would have to lock the Sixers down defensively. They've done neither. Neither one of those things has happened. Now, they have scored their points, but they have not scored enough. And they have played some defense in spurts, but in other stretches, not so much. And that has been an issue. So I see in this boring series becoming even more boring. And dare say, we the North might go down 3-0 tonight. Tip-off is at 8 Eastern in Canada. And when we come back, it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. Because on the other side, it's the Bronze Sexual Confessions. You're in hour number 2 of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. I am one half of that team, Cole Johnson. LeBron. Oh, I'm bringing that energy, homie. as you said we should. Back after this.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Baby, you see, you're so right for me, and I'm right for you. I love the things you do, like sweet tasting wine. Your lips are so divine. Your loving turns me on. My lonely days are gone. That's why I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna let you go. No, no, never gonna let you go. Baby, never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
gonna let you go.
Hey guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Well, Dr. K, you operate this Twitter thing by going on to official SIT Morn. That's official SIT Morn. That is how you can reach us through there. And it's also official SIT Morn on Instagram as well. And if you want to subscribe to this show, just go to YouTube, click that subscribe button, hit the notification bell if you want the notifications as to when we do any video from there. Now, you're inside hour number 2 of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. I am one half of that team, Cole Johnson. The other half is convalescing, day number 16, off of his cancer surgery. He wishes all of you, does Brian Snow, much love, and he thanks you for all the prayers you've sent him. He will be back to share this stage with me sooner rather than later. back in the topic that we talked about with the Sixers and the Raptors, Six says somebody has to step up and lead the Raptors. The loss of Barnes to injury has taken the wind out of their sails. Yes, 100%. And it took the wind out of my sails. And I didn't follow the Raptors closely, but I felt when I saw his injury, I felt the wind taken out of mine, because I was thinking that's going to hurt the Raptors even worse than they already are hurt. Cool says if Toronto lose game 3, they're getting swept. Yeah. And I'm almost thinking it's going to be a sweep, because I just unless the Sixers wet the bed in Toronto, I just cannot see them losing to the Raptors. Not in this series. I really can't, because they just simply don't now. They simply don't have the horses outside of Siakam and Van Fleet. They don't really have the horses to hang with the Sixers, especially if Tobias Harris is going to cook the way he has, and Tyrese Maxey is going to cook the way he has, and AB is going to be Embiid, and Harden actually gets out of his own way. The way they were in game 2, if they could transfer that to across the border, the Raptors don't stand a chance. And Cool, who is a Nuggets fan, says the Nuggets as well. Yeah, I believe if the Nuggets lose game 3 as well, the series is over. Hopefully, the altitude will help them out. Hopefully. Well, I'll say all this NBA talk, it's gotten me trigger happy. It's gotten this trigger finger itchy. And, oh yes, it's Wednesday. Come on down, Bronzesexuals. It's time for you to get your butts whooped once again. Here we go.
In a world where partial greatness is celebrated and total greatness is shunned, there stands to be a figure on the lips of those who love him and those who hate him. The inane comparisons to Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant continue and has existed since 2003. There is no end in sight, for the battle between those who unconditionally love and unconditionally hate him wages on. These are their stories. Welcome to the Bronzesexual Confessions.
So for you all to understand, not necessarily the folks in the chat, because they know, they understand, and they actually have the same energy that I do when I talk about this. But to the Bronzesexuals that have come onto this video, either live or when it replays, or at the sound of my voice, when they hear this, understand that all I am doing is a public service. You see, I had the invite. The invite came via Twitter from LeBron James. Yes, back in August. The invite is as follows. Keep talking about my squad, our personal ages, the way he plays, he stays injured, we're past our prime in this league, etc., etc., etc. Do me one favor, please. And I mean please. Prayer hand emoji. Keep that same narrative energy when it begins. That's all I ask. Hashtag thank you. Crown emoji. And so I am keeping that energy. LeBron, your team was old. Your team was slow. Your team was Mr. Glass, led by Mr. Glass himself and Anthony Davis, and you as well. And they couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Oh, you don't believe me? I'll put it to you this way. Back in 1996, if Russell Westbrook was in the car shooting at Tupac Shakur, this is what we would see. He'd be this way today. Because if you were the shooter for Tupac, you'd miss him and he'd still be alive. That's how bad of a shooter you are, sir. And then, Mr. Davis, when you said, sir, that you felt as though if the team was healthy, they'd be in the playoffs.
Woo! Hell no! To the no, no, no! Hell to the no! Hell to the no!
to the no. Listen.
And understand, sir, you've only played 70 plus games twice in your career. You've never played 82 games once, and you only played 45 this year. So if asked the question, if you were healthy, would the team be in the playoffs? And you said yes, take a sip of this. Stop the cap, man. Stop the cap. 6 says, milk bottles clanging. Bronzexuals, come out and play. Bronzexuals, come out and play. Oh man, and it's all ridiculous what I've been hearing. Many things that I find ridiculous that I've been hearing. The passing of blame from Westbrook and not taking any accountability, that it's Vogel's fault, that it's the fans' fault for booing him and calling him Westbrick, that it's the teammates' fault because they let Russ be Russ, but they let Russ be Russ too much.
Bitch, please.
Sometimes I just feel this way, man. And when Westbrook said that, when the fans were chanting Westbrick, that it was an assault on his name, that he felt as though it was an assault on his name's legacy, his name's lineage, that he takes pride in his name, and that people should not chant Westbrick, but Westbrook.
Have a Coke and a smile and shut up.
And then you bronzesexuals eat it all up. I mean, you eat it all up like you sop up happy juice when someone decides, no, when you decide to go fellatio on LeBron. This is what I find problematic about you guys. You all seem to have no filter. You all seem to have this Pollyanna view, and you all seem to have these, as I mentioned at the end of this segment, these purple and yellow glasses where the team can't do much wrong. I say much because LeBron can't do any wrong. And speaking of LeBron not being able to do any wrong, so I had a conversation with a bronzesexual. Yeah, I know it sucks, but I did. And this conversation devolved, and I really do mean devolved, as in circling the absolute drain, when the post in which the following image that I'm going to show you read, quote, "For all the LeBron haters out there," close quote. And the image was as follows. Still ridiculous that a 37-year-old LeBron is getting bashed for having a season where he averaged 30 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. How should I put this? How should I put? Okay, I'll put it this way. The reason why people are on you, bronzesexual, for saying that people are still showing LeBron James hate for him having a 38-6 season is because his team only won 33 games.
What?
His team didn't even come close to making the playoffs.
What?
His team didn't even make the play-in round.
What?
His team was horrible.
What?
He didn't lead anything except himself to a scoring championship.
What?
He didn't do anything but was invested in his own game.
What?
He didn't care about any other players on the team.
What?
In terms of strategy It was LeBron James and ... LeBron James and ... LeBron James ... Oh,
What?
the Lakers didn't even make the play-in round. Dude is more enthralled with this.
Nobody diving though. Everybody standing around the perimeter.
Diving LeBron, and there it is.
There it is.
The kid from Akron, LeBron James, has come into the nation's capital and has passed the mailman Karl Malone and is now number 2 all-time in scoring in the history of the NBA.
Now, you talked about that, Bronzesexual, all day and night long, but you remember the result of that game? Yeah, the Lakers lost. You're raving about this individual talent, and you're forgetting it's a team sport. And this guy is supposed to bring the team up. You're the same guy who says, well, he's responsible for getting certain players rings, right? Because he elevates talent.
Bitch, please.
That's what I find ridiculous. 6 says, I think most Bronzesexuals are vegans and vegetarians, so it's more likely they toss salad.
Damn!
I'd never thought of that, but I believe you might be right. This is what I do not get from you all Bronzesexuals. When we bring this energy, when your Kang actually implores us to bring this energy, and then when we bring it, you say that we're unfair. No, we're not being unfair. We are doing our job. We are holding this talented player accountable. And yes, it's impressive that he scored 30 points and pulled down 8 boards and had 6 dimes. It's impressive. It's impressive that he's the first player in NBA history to amass over 30,000 points, 10,000 rebounds, and 2,000 assists for a career. It's impressive. Yes. Yes, he's the only player to have done it. Bravo. Happy for him. But does it make him any greater than any other player that has done things that no other player has done? No. Doesn't make him any less either. I mean, Kareem, most MVPs of all time. But you, Bronzesexuals, don't call him the greatest player ever. Bill Russell, the most rings. But you, Bronzesexual, do not call him the best of all time. Wilt Chamberlain, who before Jordan had the highest scoring average in the history of the NBA and had the most points scored in the NBA in NBA history until Kareem surpassed him. But you didn't call him the greatest, and he has the most games, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, with over 30 points. And that record still stands, and he has the most rebounds ever in the history of the NBA. But you do not call him the greatest of all time. But all those players I mentioned, they have done things no other player has done, but you don't mention him as the best. John Stockton, assist leader. I don't hear a mention of him being anything close to the greatest of all time. And I'm not saying that he is. But for you all to say, well, if LeBron gets this record or achieves this milestone, that just makes him the greatest. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Cool says, well, with the tossed salad with extra dressing. And Cool says, definitely. I mean, 6 says, cool, definitely. That Hidden Valley brand, the Hidden Valley Ranch brand. Oh my gosh. Oh, keep it coming. I love the chat. I love my family. That's just beautiful. I love it. I love it because this is the crap they hear and I hear. It's about these last 20 years with LeBron, and it's about nothing and nobody else. For another example, so I had a conversation with yet another Bronzesexual about another this qualifies as not a greatest of all time candidate. Kevin Durant, the last 14 clutch shots, the clutch shots would be if he takes it within 30 seconds of the final buzzer, is 2 of 14. And the 2 that he hit was one, I believe it was in 2013. The other was the Game 7 East Conference semifinals game where he hit the 2, which if he wore 3 sizes smaller would have been a 3, which sent the game to overtime, and it unfortunately should have sent the Nets into the conference finals that year. But because he kept bricking the big shots, this Bronsexual said, quote, "Stop calling Durant clutch." Close quote.
You're a stupid dumbass.
So which way do you want it? You want Durant, who's unafraid to take the big shot, or do you want Ben Simmons, who doesn't want to take a shot at all? Because you clown him just as much as you clown Durant. Which one is it? Or you can't have it both ways either. So if Durant isn't clutch, then I can think of the many times that LeBron, when he had the ball late in games, that he would throw it out, he would throw it to somebody else. Oh, and yeah, he did hit some clutch shots, but he's missed his fair share too. So I guess that means we can't call LeBron clutch either. In your definition, Bronsexual, can we call LeBron clutch? No, we can't from your definition. And along with the salad being tossed, Cool says extra thick and creamy Hidden Valley brand dressing. This is the problem that I have with you Bronsexuals. Other than the fact that you just simply cannot stop fantasizing about this guy day and night in every scenario, every situation possible, whether it's on the court or in the bedroom. You all have one set of rules for him and another set of rules for everybody else. Because if he's on a team, for another example, if he's on a team where is with another 4 people, that they would win 10 out of 10 if the team happens to be on the other end, I don't know, Kobe, Shaq, Bird, Magic, and Jordan.
Bitch, are you for real?
It's that ridiculousness. Basically,
You cannot say filth, flying filth in front of people.
but that's what you all do. You say filth, flarn, filth in front of people, in front of us, all the time. Whether it's February or August, it doesn't matter. You all say this crap that just simply makes us shake our head. And it gets more and more ridiculous by the day. And I do mean by the day, because you all come with these takes every single day of the year. Not every single day of the NBA year. You come with this crap every single day of the calendar year. When the NBA is off from mid-June to mid-October, you all still come with this crap. Sad. 6 says, I'm convinced LeBron James is narcissistic. It's either he takes all the credit or the team takes all the blame. And his fandom follows suit. Because I'll say this to you, Sick. My brother Barbershop Jay, and kudos to you, bro. The stuff that you do and the knowledge you have, second to none in this game. Rock that, continue to rock the mic the way you do, bro. Love you. Brian and I love you, bro. Barbershop Jay, he lives in Cleveland. This dude actually said to Brian and me, this is his words, not mine, because I thought this, but this is his words. Quote, the fans in Cleveland, even now, as he is in LA. When everything went well for him, he got all the credit. But when things went south, everybody else took all the blame, and LeBron took none of it. Close quote. Now that comes from a Clevelander. A Clevelander. So you know that's how it is bronsexual wide. You know that's how it is bronsexual wide. 6 says, Kevin Durant, despite his shortcomings, is unafraid to take a chance and deal with the consequences if he fails. Sick. Yes, sick. Yes. Yes. And that's the one thing these bronsexuals seem to not grasp. He will take the shot. He will deal with the consequences. If it falls, cool. If it doesn't fall, cool. He dealt with it when he dealt with it when his size 16 just barely touched the 3-point line in that shot he made. And then the subsequent 8 that he could not hit because, I don't know, he played every single second of that game. 53 minutes. I would think that he would be bound to be dragging and tired. But all bronsexuals will see is, he shot over 8. I guess he's not clutch. Okay, tit for tat. So when LeBron had those cramps, game 1, 2014 NBA Finals, it was, LeBron isn't healthy because the building is too hot. To me, that is a clutch situation that he was not prepared for. 6 says, let's not forget that when LeBron was in Miami, it was never his team. It was Dwayne Wade's from the very beginning. Wade was the leader of that team, and he was the leader of the team when LeBron was there. Correct. And I've said this about the Warriors, where I said Durant's the best player, but Curry's the leader of that team. With the Heatles, LeBron was the best player, but Wade was the leader because the emotional temperature of the team was taken from D. Wade. But you bronsexuals don't want to hear that because that hits too close to home. That's too pearl clutch worthy of you. You know what I mean when I say you're clutching your pearls, right? Yeah, that. You all ridiculous to the point where it's as if I have to hit you over the head with this the whole while. Now, I don't know how some people just now come to this realization and revelation, but I have felt this way since June the 12th, 2011.
The GOAT conversation is officially over.
I have felt this way since June the 12th, 2011.
The GOAT conversation is officially over.
I have felt this way ever since June the 12th, 2011.
The GOAT conversation is officially over.
So, it's amazing that LeBron has put forth a 38-6 performance in a year where he played only 56 games, where he was 37 years of age, and we haven't seen a 37-year-old do what he does. So does that mean he's the greatest of all time?
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no, hell to the no, to the no, no, no. Listen.
6 says, y'all bronsexuals want clutch? How about MJ scoring on the Jazz in the 98 finals while battling food poisoning or the flu? I'll make a slight correction on that, Sick, but you are correct. It was the Jazz, and he did get food poisoning or the flu. That was actually in the 97 finals, Game 5, actually. I just don't understand why, and I will always ask this question to you bronsexuals. Why is it that you all have this incessant need to want to crush any other player that is not named LeBron Ramon James? Why do you all have this incessant need to want to bash every other NBA player, whether he's playing now or he played before, where it sucks to be that player to you because he can't do what LeBron James does? Brian and I have said this often, and we'll continue to say it. He is the most athletically gifted athlete the NBA has ever seen. If I were to say otherwise, I'd be lying. I have never seen an NBA player that is as athletic as LeBron James. I've seen many who can be almost at that point, but I've not seen one yet who has been as athletic as LeBron James. Not a one. Not a one. But the fundamentals lack a lot. It's either he shoots us off foot when he does the fadeaway, or he can't dribble between his legs, or when he can, he shoots the shot. Looks like he's Russell Westbrook when he's shooting the shot. And if he can hit the shot, he can hit it from the mid-range, but can't hit it from three. Or if he can hit it from three, he can't hit a free throw. Or we can hit a free throw, he doesn't invest his time to play on defense. Or if he does play defensively, doing a chase down block, he's out of position on the defensive end. There are things that he just simply does not do on a consistent basis, which makes you say, wow, as a basketball player, he fundamentally has it down. And I'm not even saying that LeBron doesn't have fundamentals, period. He does. It just isn't elite. It's never been that. 6 says, Cole, don't hold back. This is therapeutic. Let it all out. That's what I'm talking about, bro. You all need to be committed. You bronsexuals need to be committed. I'm just gonna put it out there. You all need to be committed. Why is it that you all have to have this man's name on the tip of your tongue every single day of your lives? For almost all of you, this man is not family. None of you are Savannah. Who's supposed to give him that type of love? No, but you all compete with her to give him that type of love. And that is the problem with you all. Cool says big money is great, but consistency and fundamentals are king. Yeah. Big money plays. I'm sorry. Big money plays are great, but consistency and fundamentals are king. Yeah. And that has been Brian's and my criticism of LeBron James, and continually that is the criticism that we have of him, is that the consistency with the fundamentals are not there. They just are not. It has never been there since he's been in our consciousness, and we're going back to 2001 with that. But ever since he's been an NBA player, which has been October 27, 2003, he has not had those fundamentals. Not had them down. 6 says, I doubt this generation of players are mentally tough. Back in the 90s, it was the height of ultra competitive basketball. The trash talking, the mind games, the physicality, etc. And it's that type of basketball I miss. Like when Xavier McDaniel, after game 5, either 4 or 5 of the 92 Eastern Conference semifinals, when they were playing the Bulls, where he actually said this, and I forever love him for it. Quote, the NBA is a man's game. Close quote. And bronsexuals, I'm going to hit you one more time. Don't you ever come at me with this GOAT crap. Ever. Ever. Because when I can actually say to you, this man who you say is on par with nobody else in the game's the league's 75-year history, can be outplayed by a sixth man in a series, and not in a series, in the finals, when I can actually show you proof that a sixth man averaged more points in less minutes than your Kang did in the finals, I'm going to hit you over the head with this until you are dead and buried, bronzesexual. Stephen A., what's that GOAT conversation again? Because to me, this has been the case since June the 12th, 2011.
The GOAT conversation is officially over.
And so is this segment, because I'm sick of talking about you fools. But I know I have to talk about you next week. Because you all can't do anything else but focus on the joystick that is LeBron James. And that is with you and all of his 100 millions follower.
In a world where logic and sense flies completely out the window, while purple and yellow glasses are donned, rises a figure who encourages ridiculous, undying loyalty.
He changed lives.
Good Lord, I'm about to throw up. This has been yet another installment of The Bronzesexual Confessions.
A quick reset, and we're going to end the show with more Lakers talk because it gets more ridiculous from here.
Have y'all even considered the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo, yes, that Jimmy Garoppolo that everyone wants to send everywhere else, may not be sent anywhere by the 49ers because, I don't know, they actually trust him?
Welcome back to Snowman in the Morning.
And down the stretch we come on this Wednesday morning edition of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. I am one half of that team, Cole. To the Johnson, the other half is convalescing. Brian, we love you. We miss you, brother. When you come back, we know you're going to come back with more fire, with more vim, with more vigor, stronger, and better than ever. I look forward to it. And for you all in the chat and for all of you out there listening and watching me, I can tell you, I had a conversation with him yesterday. The sports takes are still fire. He still has it. He's still bringing it. So when he's well enough to come bring it on this mic right here in front of you and live and in living color, he's going to bring such fire that you're going to look at him and say, wow, that rest did you good, my man. Six says, don't say that, Cole. This is the gift that keeps on giving. There's plenty of humor in all of it. Talk about bronzesexuals just coming with this BS. Yeah, it is. They truly are. Bronzesexuals and the Lakers are truly the gifts that keep on. And they're also saying about the Lakers too. They are truly the gift that keeps on giving. And here is one of those gifts which keeps on giving. Now, for all of you who are not aware of how the Lakers roll, they are a team that prides themselves on the glamour, the glitz, the big splash, right? And they're proud to say that no other team has been to more finals than they have, which is true. And they are one of the two teams that have earned the most Larry O'Brien trophies with 17, the Celtics being the other. They're proud to say that too. What they're also proud to say is that they feel as though they, by the mere name mention, is the franchise that everybody wants to come to. This is the place they want to come to because the city is nice. The city is expansive. There are the opportunities out the yang in terms of commercial exposure and expansion. There is the understanding of this is huge. This is a big town. This is a big place. This is with big energy. There is this Hollywood gloss All of that is true when it comes to the Lakers. And then there is the fact that they are the franchise that wants to have all the names, all the big names, all of it. All of it. As Six says, nobody personified big like Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain. You know, you're right. To me, still the most dominant player in the NBA history. So because the former owner of the Washington Commanders, when they were not called the Commanders, Jack Kent Cooke, owned the Lakers back in the 70s, and they weren't that team just yet. They had some success, but they weren't that team just yet. But when Dr. Jerry Buss bought them, he wanted the glitz, he wanted the glamour, he wanted the Hollywood element to invade the NBA. And then he drafted Magic Johnson, which helped him out. But before then, they got the big name in Kareem to also help them out. But he was on the team 4 years, before they drafted before they drafted Magic. So of course they have their 5 championships in 9-year run, and the team's success is built on that era. I don't care what you say to me. You could say that Kobe is the best Laker of all time. He's a great Laker. Will not say it. He definitely is on the Mount Rushmore of Lakers. But the team wants to go back to the Showtime era no matter when they play. They want to have that success where almost every year they were in the finals. They want to have that success where they could say, we are the best team in the league. They want to go back to the 80s, and they want to live there, where they want to show it in other people's faces when they wear their gold and their purple that they are the best team, and you better like it. And it must be because other people in other places will cheer for our team when we travel there. The Lakers want to have that still. They want to go back to the 80s. They couldn't do it in the 90s. They came close in the early 2000s when they and built on it in 96 when they got Shaquille O'Neal from free agency and Kobe from the draft. I should say from a draft trade. And so they won 5 rings in a 10-year stretch there. Then this drought happened. Shaq was traded off. Kobe retired in mid 2000 odds. And then 2010s, I'm sorry. And then you had this youth movement. But Lakers fan didn't want the youth movement. They wanted to trade everything off because there's no big name to draw them. And why would I say this? Because every single year before LeBron came aboard the Lakers, everybody and their mama superimposed every free agent they could possibly muster. They all flooded Adobe Photoshop and placed a Lakers jersey on them. If they were a free agent, guaranteed they have a Lakers jersey somewhere in the internet floating around. And it was to the point where when LaMarcus Aldridge was getting courted to play for them, he was an analytics guy. But the team tried to sell him on, well, it's LA. You should come play for the Lakers because, well, duh. There's no other team to play for. And Aldridge said, no, you're not it. And went to the Spurs. That shows you what type of mentality that the Lakers have. They want the big name. They want the big splash. So they were disappointed after they got LeBron and they traded for Davis that they couldn't draw the big name head coach like the Phil Jackson, of course, or the Pat Riley from eras gone by. They couldn't draw that name. So They went with Frank Vogel, and then he became the scapegoat almost as soon as he signed the L on Vogel on the contract to be the Lakers head coach. And so the Lakers are without the head man. And word around the campfire is that it's supposed to be Mark Jackson to replace him.
What?
Mark Jackson.
What?
Mark Jackson.
What?
Mark Jackson.
What?
Mark Jackson.
What?
Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson is supposed to be the head coach of the Lakers now, right? Supposedly. This is rumor. But I find it funny because I think, well, you want to latch on to any big name that is out there. Six says the Lakers of the 80s had their rivalry with the Celtics. It started in the 60s and 70s, but it got serious in the 80s. You're correct with that, sir. But everything that glitters isn't gold. A lot of it is pyrite, a.k.a. fool's gold. Or pirate, fool's gold. Thank you, Cole. It's just, I don't understand it. I seriously don't. Because it's like, this is directed to Laker fan right now. So Mark Jackson supposedly is the name that you all want as head coach. So if it's not him, who else do you want? You want Monty Williams?
What?
You want Phil Jackson?
What?
You want Tyronn Lue?
What?
You want Stan Van Gundy?
What?
Jeff Van Gundy?
What?
Heck, he just pick your poison as to any name. Nate McMillan.
What?
Eric Spoelstra.
What?
I just don't understand it. Any name, any big name that will come. Heck, I even heard Quinn Snyder is a candidate.
What?
But I'm thinking he's not anymore after he saw that dumpster fire of the last season that you all played. You got to be kidding me. Oh, heck, I'll do this for you. Byron Scott.
What?
Oh, Jeff, Derek Fisher.
What?
Oh, I'm sorry. That I had to say. Oh, Isaiah Thomas.
What?
Any big name, right? Any big name? Really? Really? Any big name. So, okay, so what is Mark supposed to do? He's supposed to just draw plays and just says, "Mama, there goes that man," after every timeout.
Bitch, please.
I mean, because guaranteed, if he was on that Lakers squad with the defense's optional mentality that team has, guaranteed he'll get tired of saying the phrase, "Hand down, man down."
Bitch, are you for real?
Lord. Six says Phil Jackson is going to quote Danny Glover if the Lakers offer him the gig. which would be quote, "I'm too old for this." Close quote. Yeah, I agree with you, Sick. But but I just find it humorous that it's just like every big name that's out there, every single one of them must want the Lakers job. Every one of them. I mean, heck, look, it might be Mike Breen.
What?
You might pull Bar Velvet out of retirement.
What?
I mean, heck, Dick Stockton's available.
What?
I mean, any big name that has anything to do with it. You might even dig Hubie Brown out of retirement.
What?
Really? Any big name Lakers fan, any big name who, and that is who you want to be on the sideline coaching. Really? But why? Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm thinking, bro. You hit the nail on the head, Cole. Get it through your thick skulls, Lakers fan. You sold your soul to have LeBron James be on the team so that you can get a chip. Now you got the chip. but you're about to see that your team is going to be in worse shape than it was in 2013. In fact, I'm sorry, 2014. And in fact, I saw a stat, and I wish I had this on display. I will have it one time. But they compared the team in 2017. The team that was coached by Luke Walton. Oh, it's another name. Which this shows you how comical I find this. So you probably want Bill Walton to be on the bench. What? But his son Luke was on the bench coaching the Lakers, led into a 35-47 record. That was the 2017 Lakers, the Lakers the year before LeBron James joined them. Last year, they were 33. This past year, 2022, they were 33-49. 33-49.
Euphoria.
35-47 in 2017. 33-49 in 2022. With LeBron James. Oh, yeah. With LeBron James and Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard and Carmelo Anthony.
Bitch, are you for real?
Sad. Six says, no, this Lakers roster is a disaster from the very beginning. A lot of coaches are seeing it for what it is. To your point, Sick, to your point. So I said that Vogel's name, when he signed it on the dotted line, he was hired to be fired. He couldn't pick the players he wanted. He couldn't pick his own coaching staff. It was to the point where they actually assigned Jason Kidd to his staff, and they titled him officially, I may add, quote, head coach in waiting. Close quote.
Right.
Head coach in waiting. This is what was waiting him. Head coach in waiting. So when we have Jeannie Buss taking advice from Linda Rambis, not necessarily Kurt, although I sort of side-eyed him a bit, but when she's taking advice from Linda Rambis on how to maneuver this team, and basically having a hands-off approach while Rob Pelinka is at the behest of both Jeannie and LeBron. And you have Carmelo who said, quote, you the GM, close quote, in reference to LeBron. This team is rudderless. Six says, Jeff Van Gundy would rather get punched by Marcus Camby again than coach this Lakers team.
Damn!
I think you all get the message. In fact, I know you all get the message. The fact that you have Lakers fan putting any big name that just comes along the pike to helm the sideline is rather funny to me. It's hilarious. It is funny. I mean, I get a big kick out of it. I mean, you'd even take Kareem, what? James Worthy, what? Jerry West, although you screwed him and his family. What? You take any big name that you can find, even if it's on the Lakers that played in the past. Heck, you'll probably dig up the grave and put Elgin Baylor's bones on the sideline. What? That's just how ridiculous you all are, Lakers fan. Find the right man for the job, and then you will not have the problem of having to go for the big name, because the big name doesn't always draw you the big result. In fact, you have a whole lineup that shows you that the big names provided you the smallest result in many a year. So for you looking for the big name and the big splash and the big possibility to have the big result in a big championship that rolls down Figueroa Street in front of Crypto.com Arena, fit this cap on you and stop it. Please. For me. 6 says PJ Colinspo would rather get choked up by Latrell Sprewell than coach the Lakers. I might redo this segment just to have all of these names mentioned because the argument is that ridiculous. It really is. It seriously, it is. Want to support the show? Go to patreon.com/SIT morning and you get all of the insights, the ins and outs, and you'll support this show and have it be brought up to the elevation of, shows like Pat McAfee, shows like The Ringer, shows of that nature where you get the highs of hot takes, the colds of cold hard facts, the way that you want it done. And if you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can get any and all content that comes from the Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson channel. On behalf of Brian Snow and all of us here at Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, I am Cole Johnson of Cole Sports. And you can follow me, that's with a Z, Cole Sports with a Z on YouTube. I got content for days there. But for all of us here, I have this to say to you. Take care. God bless. Make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, they're just simply not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. That's what Brian is doing currently as we speak. That's what I'm doing. And I know in the chat, that's what you all are doing too. Much love and much peace to all of you. And for all of us here at the Snowman in the Morning with the Cole Sports team, I am Cole Johnson here to say to you, adios. Tune in tomorrow. 3 more Game 3 first round matchups we'll talk about. Thank you for tuning in to Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, the hottest of hot takes and the coldest of cold, hard facts.